Ladies and gentlemen, before anything changes on the outside of a person's life, something far more important begins to change on the inside. This is often the part that people misunderstand because we are naturally trained to look for external evidence. New opportunities, visible progress, doors opening, circumstances improving. But in the ways God works, the internal always precedes the external. Nothing significant is entrusted to a person who has not first been prepared to carry it. When God is about to give you something big, one of the first things He addresses is your inner framework. How you think, how you interpret delay, how you respond to pressure, and how you define value in your life. Many people pray for change in their situation, but they do not realize that if God were to change the situation without first changing them, the blessing would eventually collapse under the weight of their current mindset. So God begins in the unseen places. He works on perception before provision. He works on understanding before opportunity. Psychologically, this can feel unsettling. You may notice that things which once motivated you no longer carry the same emotional effect. Desires begin to shift. Priorities that once felt urgent begin to lose importance. You may even feel a kind of internal tension, as if you are no longer fully aligned with the environment you are in. What is happening in that moment is not confusion. It is recalibration. Your internal system is being adjusted to a higher level of responsibility. Spiritually, this is often where people misinterpret the process. They assume that because things feel uncertain, something is going wrong. But uncertainty is frequently the space where transformation begins. God does not always announce His preparation with clarity at the start. Instead, He begins by loosening your attachment to what is familiar so that you are not emotionally dependent on what cannot take you forward. If everything remained comfortable, you would never reach beyond your current limitations. There is also a subtle but powerful reshaping of identity that takes place during this phase. You begin to see yourself differently, even if you cannot fully explain why. Old labels lose their authority. Past failures begin to feel less defining, and internally, there is a growing awareness that you are being called into something larger than your previous expectations. This is not imagination, it is alignment. God often plants a new internal identity before He releases a new external assignment. From a philosophical standpoint, this process reflects a deeper truth about human growth. Capacity must always expand before responsibility increases. If a person's internal structure remains unchanged, greater external success does not elevate them, it overwhelms them. That is why the early stage of divine preparation can feel like pressure, reflection, and even stripping away. It is not reduction for its own sake. It is refinement. What cannot support the next level is removed so that what remains is stable enough to carry it. And so in this stage, the most important response is not resistance, but awareness. Instead of asking why things feel uncertain, the deeper question becomes, what is being developed within me that I cannot yet see? Because very often what feels like delay is actually design. What feels like silence is actually construction. And what feels like internal discomfort is often the sign that something within you is being strengthened to match something ahead of you. When God is about to give you something big, He does not simply improve your circumstances. He expands your capacity, and that expansion always begins within. And the truth is this: what God is building inside you now is what will eventually sustain everything He is preparing for you next. There is a very specific stage in life that almost everyone experiences when they are on the edge of something greater, and yet very few recognize it in real time. It is the moment when what used to work stops working, not gradually, not predictably, but in a way that feels abrupt, almost unsettling. Methods that once produced results no longer carry the same effectiveness. Conversations that once opened doors now seem to lead nowhere. Effort that used to feel productive begins to feel like it is hitting an invisible wall. And from a human perspective, this stage is deeply confusing, because our natural instinct is to double down on what we already know. When something stops working, we tend to apply more of the same effort, more of the same strategy, more of the same emotional investment. But what God often allows in these moments is not a failure of effort, it is a disruption of dependence. He is intentionally interrupting your reliance on what is familiar so that you are no longer anchored to something that cannot carry you into your next season. Psychologically, this is one of the most important transitions in human development, because identity is often tied to repetition. We become confident in what is predictable. We build a sense of control around what is familiar. So when those familiar systems begin to fail, it creates internal discomfort. But that discomfort is not random, it is exposure. It is the moment you begin to see that your previous level of thinking, planning, or relying on certain patterns was only sufficient for a smaller version of your life. There is a deeper intelligence at work in this process. When God is preparing to elevate a person, He does not just add new opportunities on top of old patterns. He disrupts the old patterns entirely. Because if you remain dependent on what worked in your previous season, you will unconsciously limit the size of what you can receive in the next one. So instead of allowing you to carry outdated strategies into a new environment, He lets those strategies lose their effectiveness. Not to punish you, but to reorient you. And this is where many people misinterpret the process. They assume they are being rejected, overlooked, or forgotten. But in reality, they are being redirected away from systems that cannot scale with their future. What you are experiencing as resistance is often not closed doors. It is the removal of alignment with what no longer fits. From a philosophical standpoint, this is the breaking of dependence on the finite. Human beings naturally attach themselves to what has worked before, because it gives a sense of control. But growth requires the surrender of that control. Because if you always rely on what is known, you will never be forced to develop what is unknown within you. And what is unknown within you is often the very capacity you need for where you are going next. There is also a subtle emotional process happening here. You begin to feel a kind of internal dissatisfaction, even with things that once felt stable. Not because they are evil or wrong, but because they are no longer sufficient. That dissatisfaction is not emptiness. It is expansion pressure. It is the internal signal that your current environment or methods are too small for what is forming ahead. In this stage, God is not just changing outcomes. He is changing benevolence. He is shifting you from relying on systems, people, and patterns that are predictable into a deeper reliance on wisdom, discernment, and direction that is not visible yet. And that shift always feels uncomfortable at first because it removes the illusion of control. But if you observe carefully, you will notice something important. While certain things stop working, clarity begins to increase in unexpected areas. You start seeing situations differently. You start questioning assumptions you once accepted without thought. You begin to sense that what is closing is not a loss but a clearing. And that clearing is essential. Because God does not just upgrade your life by adding more, He upgrades it by removing what cannot accompany you into the next dimension of your purpose. When old systems stop responding, it is not a signal that you are stuck. It is a signal that you are being repositioned. Because when God is about to give you something big, He will not let you rely on something small that no longer matches your assignment. And in that moment of disruption, the real invitation is simple. Do not cling to what is fading, discern what is forming. There is a stage in preparation that very few people initially recognize as something meaningful. In fact, at first glance, it often feels like the opposite. It feels like distance. It feels like silence. It feels like being overlooked, disconnected, or even forgotten. And yet, in the deeper logic of how growth works, both psychologically and spiritually, this is often one of the most intentional phases in the entire process. When God is about to give you something big, He often introduces a season where external noise begins to fade. Relationships that once felt central become less influential. Conversations that once shaped your thinking lose their weight. Even environments that used to feel emotionally grounding begin to feel less aligned. And in place of all that external stimulation, something else begins to happen. You are left with yourself. At first, this can feel like isolation. But in reality, it is refinement of attention, because human growth is extremely sensitive to distraction. As long as your attention is constantly pulled outward, toward opinions, validation, comparison, or emotional dependency, your internal development remains fragmented. So God, in His process of preparation, often reduces the noise so that clarity can emerge. Psychologically, this is a necessary phase of identity stabilization. A person cannot step into a greater level of responsibility if their sense of self is constantly being shaped by external input. So what feels like separation is actually the removal of interference. You are being brought into a space where your internal voice becomes louder than the external voices that used to define you. This is where something very important begins to develop: independence of perception. Instead of automatically reacting to what others think, feel, or expect, you begin to form a more stable internal framework. You start to think more deeply before reacting. You begin to question emotional impulses rather than being controlled by them. And slowly, you become less dependent on approval and more anchored in clarity. From a philosophical standpoint, this is a transition from borrowed identity to formed identity. Many people live much of their lives shaped by external reinforcement. What others say about them, how they are perceived, or where they are placed socially. But in seasons of isolation, that external reinforcement is reduced. And what remains is the opportunity to discover who you are when nothing external is defining you. This is not accidental, because before expansion comes definition, and before definition comes removal of distraction. There is also a deeper emotional purification taking place. In constant connection with people and environments, human beings unconsciously absorb expectations, comparisons, and emotional noise. Over time, that can cloud judgment and weaken inner stability. But in solitude, those layers begin to fall away. What remains is a more honest version of yourself, not the version shaped by reaction, but the version shaped by reflection. And in that space, something subtle but powerful happens. Your sensitivity increases. Not emotional fragility, but spiritual and intellectual clarity. You begin to notice things you previously overlooked. You begin to understand patterns in your thinking, in your decisions, and even in your past experiences that were not visible before. That awareness is not random, it is the result of reduced noise and increased focus. It is also important to understand that isolation in this context is not abandonment, it is redirection of dependency. Because when people are constantly surrounded, they naturally depend on that surrounding for reassurance. But when that surrounding is temporarily removed, they are forced into a different kind of dependence. One that is internal, reflective, and deeply formative. And this is where growth becomes irreversible, because once a person learns to think clearly without external validation, they become far more stable in any environment they enter afterward. They are no longer easily shaken by presence or absence of others. They are no longer controlled by emotional proximity. Instead, they begin to operate from a place of internal steadiness. So what feels like being set apart is actually being set up. Not for isolation as an endpoint, but for clarity as a foundation. Because God does not isolate to weaken, He isolates to refine attention, strengthen identity, and prepare focus. And in the quietness of that season, something very important is being established within you. The ability to stand firm in who you are, even when nothing around you is confirming it. There is a very specific moment that tends to occur right before a significant breakthrough, and it is one of the most misunderstood stages in the entire process of growth. On the surface, it does not look like progress. In fact, if anything, it often feels like the opposite. Pressure increases, demands intensify, emotional stability is tested. Circumstances appear to tighten rather than expand. And naturally, the human interpretation of this is often concern, sometimes even discouragement. But from a deeper perspective, this stage is not random. It is not disorder. It is refinement under intensity. When God is about to give you something big, there is often a final phase where everything that is unstable within you is brought to the surface. Not to overwhelm you, but to expose what cannot be carried forward. Pressure has a way of doing something that comfort never will. It reveals structure. Under ease, many things remain hidden, but under pressure, truth becomes visible. Emotional reactions, thought patterns, and internal weaknesses are no longer theoretical. They become observable. Psychologically, this is a known principle. Systems under stress reveal their true capacity. A person can believe they are patient, stable, or resilient, but it is only when pressure arrives that those qualities are genuinely tested. And this is why this stage often feels intense. It is not creating new problems. It is revealing existing internal limits so they can be addressed before expansion occurs. From a spiritual perspective, this is the final alignment before elevation, because what is coming next requires stability that cannot be superficial. If a person enters a greater level of responsibility, influence, or opportunity without being internally steady, the weight of that level can become destructive rather than constructive. So what feels like strain is actually protection in motion. It is the process of ensuring that what is ahead does not collapse under unpreparedness. There is also a very important shift that happens in perception during this stage. Time begins to feel heavier, delays feel more intense, expectations feel closer, And yet beneath all of that, something deeper is forming: endurance. Not passive waiting, but active internal strengthening. The kind of endurance that does not depend on immediate relief, but on inner certainty that something meaningful is unfolding. This is where many people become tempted to give up, not because they are truly failing, but because the pressure creates the illusion of distance from the promise. But in reality, pressure often increases right before release. Think of it like compression before expansion. Nothing significant is released without first being contained, shaped, and pressurized into readiness. Philosophically, this stage teaches one of the most important lessons in human development: that proximity to breakthrough is often disguised as resistance. The mind naturally assumes that resistance means opposition, but in many cases, resistance is actually the final shaping force. It is the mechanism that ensures readiness is not assumed but proven. There is also a deeper emotional purification happening here. Under pressure, distractions lose their appeal. Superficial concerns begin to fade. What remains is clarity about what truly matters. In this way, pressure simplifies the mind. It strips away unnecessary layers of attachment and forces focus onto what is essential. And in that simplicity, strength begins to emerge. You may also notice during this stage that certain internal patterns rise more strongly than before: fear, doubt, impatience, or emotional fatigue. But their appearance is not evidence of defeat. It is evidence of exposure. These are not new weaknesses being created. They are existing ones being brought to the surface so they can no longer operate unconsciously. Awareness is the first step toward transformation. And perhaps the most important truth about this stage is that it is temporary but necessary. No one remains in sustained pressure forever. It is a transitional condition, not a permanent state. Its purpose is not to define you, but to refine you. And once its work is complete, what follows is often unexpected acceleration. So when God is about to give you something big, the pressure is not a sign that things are breaking down. It is a sign that something is being prepared to break through. Because what cannot be shaped under pressure cannot be sustained in elevation. And in that final tension before release, the real test is simple. Will you interpret pressure as punishment, or recognize it as preparation for what you once prayed for?